Welcome back to the Relaxing Ghost channel here on YouTube. As always, your host with the most, Ghost. Today we got the 2004 pay-per-view collection. 14 pay-per-views to go through in 2004. This would be an increasing trend here as the brand split was in full effect during the Ruthless Aggression era. 2005 we would have 15 pay-per-views, 2006, 16, and then after 2006, things started to go a little bit back to normal and downhill in 2007 and 2008. So 2004, I think it's one of the more underrated years of WWE. A lot of good stuff here, but, also, a lot of bad. So let's get into it, guys, with the Royal Rumble 2004. So the Royal Rumble 2004, fairly decent show, but, this will always be remembered for Benoit coming in at number 1, winning the Royal Rumble, and, I know for myself, I really, look back on these some great times in WWE, and it sucks because a lot of this stuff from 2004 is rarely talked about, and, we'll get into a lot of that in a few minutes, but, it's kind of weird here to have John Cena on the cover here. John Cena, wasn't even like a mid-card act at this point. He was, already the Doctor of Thugonomics. But this copy did not come with the insert, so I'll just run down the matches from the back. So we got the World Tag Team title tables match. Dudley's versus Ric Flair and Batista. Rey Mysterio versus Jamie Noble. Eddie Guerrero versus Chavo. It's actually a really good match. Then we got the Royal Rumble match, 15 from Raw and 15 from SmackDown. Brock Lesnar versus Hardcore Holly. One of the more weirder Brock Lesnar title defenses. I know they had a pretty good story going into this, but Hardcore Holly, we all knew he would probably never be WWE champion, so giving him a shot at the Rumble just seemed weird to me. And a pretty good last man standing match. I'm not the biggest fan of last man standing matches at all, but Triple H and Shawn Michaels definitely had a great match here. And this would be like one of 3 or 4 Rumbles to be held in Philly. So Rumble probably has the most appearances in Philadelphia. No Way Out 2004. Excuse me. One of the greatest moments in 2004 definitely happened on this night, and I definitely love the white spine here. Anytime you get a different colored spine is always nice to me. That just looks excellent. I love the No Way Out logo, and fairly decent disc art, not the best, but so a lot of DVD extras. We got Eddie's post-match celebration. We have Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty versus the Bashams and Shaniqua in a tag title handicap match. Jamie Noble versus Nydia. We had the World's Greatest Tag Team versus the APA. This would be one of the APA's last pay-per-views together. Hardcore Holly versus Rhino. So, like I mentioned from the Rumble, Hardcore Holly, he was always a lower mid-card guy. And for him to get a WWE title match is just bizarre to me. So, Rey Mysterio versus Chavo. Those guys would have an excellent feud, trading back the title a few times. Triple threat match, Kurt Angle, John Cena, and The Big Show. Winner going on to WrestleMania 20. And WWE title match, Brock Lesnar versus Eddie Guerrero. Man, I love that these times in WWE. And Eddie Guerrero as WWE champion, probably top 5 in my books. Growing up, watching 2004 stuff, I absolutely loved Eddie Guerrero as the WWE champion. So, WrestleMania 20 and the Hall of Fame. I'm just going to kind of cover the Hall of Fame briefly here, but this would be the first and the only time that the Hall of Fame got its own DVD aside from WrestleMania. After this, it would be included with the WrestleMania release. So WrestleMania 20 here had a couple of different variations of the release. I have the standard digipack and the, standard stackable DVD set here. Let's run down the Hall of Fame here first. The class of 2004 included superstar Billy Graham, Greg the Hammer Valentine, our first ever celebrity induction with Pete Rose, Big John Studd, Sergeant Slaughter, Bobby Heenan, Tito Santana, Harley Race, Don Morocco, JYD, and Jesse Ventura. A really good Hall of Fame class. One of my favorite sets to go back and watch every year. But if you don't have the Hall of Fame 2004, you definitely gotta add that to your collection. The WrestleMania stackable set, I'm not a fan of it. I got it by accident, and I'm happy to have it in the collection. But here's just another shot of it if you guys are curious what it looks like. Let's run down the digipack, because I absolutely love this set. Again, similar spines to the standard release. 8.5 hour runtime here. Really good stuff. So, our extras and special features, we have the Mania of WrestleMania, WrestleMania's 10 greatest matches ever, behind the scenes interviews and events, and a history of WrestleMania photo gallery, facts and official match results. Really, really cool. I've always loved the disc art for this set. Just classic stuff. You got Brock Goldberg, Guerrero Angle, and a shot of the main event with Benoit and Triple H. I'll run down the official match card in just a second. Just want to give you a shot of this timeline back here. So we got 20 momental years, one legendary night. I'm not going to pop out disc 3. It is broken. It just has the WrestleMania 20 logo behind it. But, I mean, look at this. We got, 85 through 2004 here. Really, really cool stuff. Just different shots of all the WrestleManias past and present, or past to the present. Brock Lesnar, Shooting Star Press, Stone Cold and Brett. It's a really cool set here. I wish they did that a little bit more often, but let's run down the matches of WrestleMania 20. Got Big Show versus John Cena, U.S. title. Fatal 4-way match for the World Tag titles. Chris Jericho versus Christian. The 2-on-3 handicap match. The Rock and Sock versus Evolution. The first ever Playboy evening gown match. We got the first ever Cruiserweight Open. Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. A fatal 4-way for the WWE tag titles. We have Victoria versus Molly Holly in a title versus hair match. Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle. Undertaker versus Kane. And the triple threat World Heavyweight Championship match. Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chris Benoit. Lot of extras and special features on this. I won't go through them all, but pause right there if you'd like to take a gander there. All right, Backlash 2004, another Raw exclusive pay-per-view. Really cool disc art. And this has a few good matches on it. So we got Shelton Benjamin versus Ric Flair, Tajiri versus Jonathan Coachman, Christian and Trish Stratus versus Chris Jericho, Victoria versus Lita, the hardcore match for the IC title, Randy Orton and Cactus Jack, the Hurricane and Rosie versus La Resistance, And the final encounter, the rematch from WrestleMania 20, Benoit, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels. Really, really good backlash there. Judgment Day would be a SmackDown pay-per-view. I really like this disc art here. Really, really cool. A shot of the back. And also a really nice spine. So this wasn't the best pay-per-view I've ever, but it did have a couple of great matches. Which I think SmackDown was definitely the B show here in the middle of 2004. But I was always a SmackDown guy. We got Rey Mysterio and Rob Van Dam versus the Dudleys. Tori Wilson versus Dawn Marie. Scotty 2 Hotty versus Mordecai. I believe this was the debut match for Mordecai. Rico and Charlie Haas versus Hardcore Holly and Billy Gunn. I mean, Hardcore Holly and Billy Gunn, they could have been repackaged to be a pretty good tag team, but they were just like, themselves from, 5 years earlier. Jacqueline versus Chavo Guerrero for the Cruiserweight title. John Cena versus Rene Dupree. Undertaker versus Booker T. And Eddie Guerrero versus JBL for the WWE title. How Jacqueline ever became Cruiserweight champion is beyond me. Alright, Bad Blood 2004. Raw exclusive pay-per-view. I'm always a fan of the, colored spines. These days we get too many, just black spine with the logo on it. Very colorful year for spines, 2004. So La Resistance versus Chris Benoit and Edge. Jericho versus Tyson Tomko. Randy Orton versus Shelton Benjamin. Victoria, Gail Kim, Lita, and Trish in a fatal 4-way match. Eugene versus Jonathan Coachman. Chris Benoit versus Kane. And the Hell in a Cell match. Shawn Michaels versus Triple H. Kind of weird they just put the matches like that. No annotations or what matches they were. But that was an IC tag. Fatal 4-way. I was a pretty big fan of Gail Kim. I always liked Gail Kim. Great American Bash. This is the original copy. I just found this used recently. And this is not the best show ever, but we got our Concrete Crypt match. One of the worst gimmicks ever. I'm not a fan of that. Disc art, fairly similar to the cover. So we got a fatal 4-way match for the U.S. title. Charlie Haas versus Luther Reigns. Rey Mysterio versus Chavo Guerrero. Billy Gunn again. Billy Gunn versus Kenzo Suzuki. I believe Billy Gunn came out to the Ass Man theme song here. Sable versus Tori. Hardcore Holly versus Mordecai. Also, I believe this was Kenzo's debut pay-per-view match. And we got the Texas Bull Rope match for the WWE title. Eddie Guerrero versus JBL. This is where JBL would win the WWE title. Concrete Crypt match. Undertaker versus the Dudley Boys. Not a fan of that match at all. Vengeance from 2004. Another Raw exclusive pay-per-view. I absolutely love this cover here. We were definitely in the era of Orton. They were pushing Randy Orton hard here. Fairly decent show. But nothing too memorable here again. Oh, man. So, we got Garrison Cade and Coach versus Tajiri and Rhino. Jericho versus Batista. The World Tag Title match, La Resistance versus Flair and Eugene. No DQ match, Kane and Matt Hardy. Randy Orton versus Edge for the IC title. The number 1 contender match for the women's title, Molly versus Victoria. And Chris Benoit versus Triple H for the world title. Really good stuff here. I liked it, but it's not the best show ever. SummerSlam from 2004. Again, the original copy here. The updated one would have just the Undertaker JBL match, and all this is gone. This is moved up, and I get why they did it. Okay, but shot of the back. Nice spine. I love that SummerSlam logo. So really colorful. I love how they put like the red and the blue in the verses for like SmackDown and Raw matches. So we open up with a 6-man tag match. Rey Mysterio, Paul London, and Billy Kidman for Spike, Bubba, and Devon. Till death do us part. Lita marries the winner, Matt Hardy versus Kane. We got match 1 in the best of 5 series for the US title. Booker T versus John Cena. Triple threat match for the IC title. Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle. Triple H versus Eugene. We got Diva Dodgeball. JBL versus The Undertaker. And Chris Benoit versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton becoming the youngest World Heavyweight Champion. Unforgiven. Insane Pain Kane. One of the weirdest and creepiest covers I've ever seen. This definitely is the weirdest cover I've probably ever seen. But I love the Unforgiven classic logo. I mean, Kane is just plastered all over this thing. And this is a odd insert, but I absolutely like it quite a bit. So we got Chris Benoit and William Regal versus Flair and Batista for the, just for the hell of it. Got Trish Stratus versus Victoria for the women's title. Tyson Tomko versus the Mystery Woman, which ended up being Steven Richards. Chris Jericho versus Christian in a ladder match for the IC title. La Resistance versus Rhino and Tajiri. Shawn Michaels versus Kane. And Randy Orton versus Triple H for the world title. Triple H would win the championship here and, quickly end Randy Orton's run as champ. No Mercy from 2004. They're really pushing JBL as champ during this time. I wasn't really the biggest fan of JBL at the time, but to get to where we were going with the rise of John Cena, I really don't have a problem with it now. So, really nice DVD set here. I like these kind of DVDs with different things like this. You got your money green theme going along here. Pretty nice insert. Similar to the cover disc art. Got the Cruiserweight title match. Spike Dudley versus Nunzio. Paul London versus Kidman. We got the WWE tag title match. Kenzo Suzuki and Rene Dupree versus RVD and Rey Mysterio. Big Show versus Kurt Angle. The match number 5 in the best of 5 series for the US title. Cena and Booker T. 6-person tag. And the last ride match for the WWE title. JBL versus The Undertaker. Not the biggest fan of the last ride match. Kind of similar to the ambulance match, casket match. Very similar to those. Taboo Tuesday from 2004. A Raw exclusive event. I'm a pretty big fan of these shows. But overall, they weren't the best. They didn't really draw too well. I think just having a pay-per-view on Tuesday is not the right choice. So we got the IC title match, Jericho versus Shelton Benjamin. We got your Fulfill Your Fantasy Diva Battle Royal for the Women's Championship. Kane versus Gene Snitsky in a steel chain match. Eugene versus Eric Bischoff in a loser gets his head shaved bald. World Tag Title match, La Resistance versus Chris Benoit and Edge. Christy Hemme versus Carmella in a lingerie pillow fight. Not the Carmella that we know today. We got the World Title match, Shawn Michaels versus Triple H, and Randy Orton versus Ric Flair in an awesome steel cage match. Very good steel cage. Survivor Series. This isn't the best cover, but I do give them credit for coming up with a creative cover. But Undertaker, he just looks horrible here. But I know a lot of the other guys do actually look pretty decent here. Triple H, JBL looks decent. Orton, Flair, Mysterio. Big Show looks like so let's get into it. No insert here. So we got Trish Stratus versus Lita, Shelton Benjamin versus Christian, Undertaker versus Heidenreich. We got a 4-on-4 Survivor Series match. We got a Fatal 4-Way for the Cruiserweight Championship of the World. 4-on-4 Survivor Series for Raw. And JBL versus Booker T. So this one must have been SmackDown. This one must have been Raw. So, not the best Survivor Series, but it is what it is. And Armageddon 2004. Not my favorite pay-per-view cover. Probably one of my more least favorites. But a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view. We have The Miz's pay-per-view debut here in a Dixie Dog fight. But fairly nice insert here. We got the WWE Tag Title match. The Kurt Angle Invitational. We got Miss Jackie versus Dawn Marie. The Dixie Dog fight. Cruiserweight title match. RVD and Rey Mysterio versus Kenzo Suzuki and Rene Dupree. 3-on-1 handicap match. A street fight for the U.S. title. John Cena versus Jesus. Fatal 4-Way for the WWE title. Again, not the best pay-per-view. Overall was Armageddon. So there we have the 2004 pay-per-view DVD collection, guys. Take some time and subscribe to the channel. We'll talk to you later. Peace.